Dear Honorable Delegates, ladies and gentlemen, this first annual SDG moment is a rallying call for us all. The SDGs unite us around a shared future threatened not only by COVID-19, but by the existential threat of climate change. This shared future is about more than just socio-economic progress. It is about saving lives. Last month, Seychelles celebrated the 250th anniversary of its settlement. Over these 2.5 centuries, a nation has been forged from a melting pot of continents, from the pain of slavery. A nation has been built on the spirit of unity in diversity. This is what Seychelles stands for. A small island developing state, conscious of our isolation, but also aware of our potential, a large ocean nation. Today, the fruits of our labor speak for themselves. The Republic of Seychelles presented its very first voluntary national review in July of this year as its blueprint for SDG implementation. Our successes were notable in areas such as education, health, as well as in environmental protection and conservation. As an island nation, we are inherently vulnerable to external shocks. Climate change underlines this vulnerability, coupled with a narrow resource base and associated challenges of resource mobilization, human resource constraints, and regional maritime security risk. While we have led the way in responding to COVID-19 with no cases of local transmission, the economic impact has been dramatic. For Seychelles, this has meant foregoing some of the hard-fought economic gains and adopting contingency plans focused on protecting our population. This is our foremost priority. I urge all our partners to review criteria currently being used to measure development and ensure that an appropriate focus on vulnerability is captured. The SDGs require us to look beyond GDP. They require us to invest in well-being of citizens. There is no better time in this decade of action to adopt a vulnerability index that can allow us to better target resources for development. The interrelatedness of the SDGs will mean that the COVID-19 pandemic will have systemic effects on our performance in almost all the goals. With an economy heavily reliant on tourism and services, the pandemic has dealt a blow to the livelihoods of thousands. As a global collective, we must also turn to nature to find solutions to the problems we face. In accelerating our economic development, we acknowledge the vast potential of the ocean and the blue economy as catalysts of transformative economic growth through which we all can benefit. We must recognize the true value of our natural capital to fight climate change. Seychelles' decision to protect over 1/3 of its exclusive economic zone is driven by the recognition that we all have a responsibility to solve this problem. In doing so, we will also create new economic opportunities that are anchored in the protection of nature. We need to turn the same urgency of response to COVID-19 to tackle climate change. In the teeth of the crisis created by COVID-19, we are proceeding with remedial policy responses which will contribute towards bringing Seychelles back on track to achieving the SDGs. In March of this year, the government launched a flagship initiative, the Financial Assistance for Job Retention Scheme, which is catering for the salaries of businesses hardest hit by the adverse effects of COVID-19. A nation such as ours does not have unlimited resources to inject into the response to COVID-19. While we seek to diversify, we do not have a million options to choose from. However, We are determined to protect our people. We are determined to make this decade of action meaningful. Today's reality has put all of us to the test, and in the true Seychelles spirit, the people of Seychelles have risen to the occasion. My fellow SDG champions, despite the threat of the pandemic, we must remain focused on our journey to forge our way towards a brighter, more equitable, and sustainable future. Let us work together with unwavering resolve, leaving no one behind. I thank you.